If you're sick of those super cheap tomato cages that you get at big box stores because they could barely hold up a pepper plant, let alone a tomato plant, you're not alone. I absolutely hate them. I totally hate them. But in today's episode, I've got a solution. I'm going to show you how to make a really inexpensive, very quick tomato cage that's going to last a lifetime. Let's go. So we are in our in-ground garden today, and we are making some tomato cages for our tomatoes that we just planted. Now, this style of tomato cage is going to be used for primarily in-ground applications. If you have raised beds, you absolutely can, but in raised beds, I would typically advocate single stemming because you're going to be planting them a lot more densely, and you could still single stem here as well. That's our preferred method of staking up tomatoes. But the whole purpose behind this in-ground garden is just to show you different gardening methods that we typically wouldn't show in our normal videos. We grow high intensity, and that's because just because we have the space doesn't mean we need to use the space. We want to show you what's possible on a small area so that you can replicate this at your home garden. And if you're someone that grows in ground like we have here, you're typically going to have a tiny bit more space. You might not have, but you typically do have a little bit more space than one would have in like a raised bed garden. And so because we have a lot more real estate here, our staking method is going to be a tad bit different. We're going to use tomato cages. Now, I know what you're thinking, tomato cages. Luke, I thought you want to prune your tomatoes to keep them healthier, to allow for more airflow, and that's absolutely true. You're going to have a healthier tomato if you can prune the lower leaves, get it off the ground, increase that airflow 100%. But what I find is a lot of times in-ground tomatoes, in-ground gardens, your objective is not necessarily to get tomatoes until November. If that happens, great. But typically you're going to cage up a tomato. You want to it's minimal effort. You're going to get it off the ground. You're going to increase its airflow as much as possible. And whatever happens, happens. It's a way of kind of just a very low maintenance approach to staking up your tomatoes. And it's another method that does work. It's just another method that you can use in your garden. So we're going to stake up these tomatoes here. We've got our tomatoes spaced out. It's really important if you're going to make these style tomato cages that you space your tomatoes a little further apart. Again, it goes back to what I was talking about with in-ground gardening, is that we have a little more space here, so we are a little less efficient on our spacing with our plants. Our plants are spaced out about 4 feet apart, meaning that we have 4 feet and 4 feet. So there's about 8 feet between tomato plants. And that allows us to actually cage up our tomatoes using this caging style. It's a caging style my grandpa used. I know that you've probably seen this method, but you might not have known how cheap and simple it is. So we're gonna make these tomato cages right now, and you really only need one thing, technically, a couple things if you don't have them. So the one thing you're going to need is concrete remesh. This is concrete reinforcement, and it comes in a sheet. Now these sheets are typically, if you get them from like a big box store like Lowe's or Home Depot or Menards, they're going to be about 48 inches by about 84 inches or so. And that's going to be your kind of your standard size from a big box store. But what I'd recommend doing is going out and getting yourself a 10-foot sheet. They are 5 feet by 10 feet. We went to our local building supply center. Not only were they cheaper, but we actually got more for our money. These are larger than you're going to get in big box stores. And what's great about these is that these have a really nice opening. It's a 6-inch by 6-inch opening. You can get the largest tomato you've ever grown out of this, no problem. A common mistake I see people making are trying to make these style tomato cages and going to a place like Tractor Supply and getting the little rectangular squares. It's 2 inches by 4 inches. You don't want that, I promise you. I promise you, pinky promise with both hands. You don't want that because you're going to end up having to cut little holes in your trellis just to make room for your hands to get through to harvest. And then next year when you repurpose it, there might not be a tomato right there. So you got to cut another one. And then your trellis becomes more like Swiss cheese. This is great because you could just reach in anywhere on this trellis and you're going to have the ability to get your tomatoes. Also, it allows for better airflow because your tomato leaves are going to kind of pop out, giving you more airflow rather than scrunching up in this tiny little tube. And the reason why 10 foot is so nice is because it gives you the option to do one of two things. If you want an extra wide trellis, if you want an extra wide cage, you're going to use a 3-foot diameter. And how you get 3-foot diameter is you don't cut this. I've got this cut, so ignore the fact that this is cut. Imagine this is one long 10-foot sheet. You're going to trim off using bolt cutters. You got to buy them if you don't have them, but they are pretty inexpensive, like 17 bucks. You get a good pair of bolt cutters, cut off about a foot. Cut off about a foot from the one end, and then once you curl it around to make your tomato cage, you'll see what I'm doing in a second, you'll have a 3-foot diameter tomato cage. But if you want to save some money, you can do what I did and just have them, a lot of places they'll cut it for you, or you take your bolt cutters, cut it right down the center. Cut it right down the center, and you're gonna end up with about 4.5 feet and 4.5 feet on either side. That 4.5 feet on either side is going to give you 2 tomato cages that are a little bit less than 2 feet in diameter. So you're getting kind of, in my opinion, the reason why I did this is because you're getting more bang for your buck. I'm getting 2 tomato cages for basically the same price as one. They're just a little bit smaller. So depending on your growing style, that's what you do. You need some bolt cutters, and then you also absolutely probably want to get a pair of gloves and a pair of pliers, because the next step is we are going to trim some ends, we're going to fold some wire, and we're going to make our tomato cage. It only takes like 2 minutes to do. It's pretty awesome. So what we did here is we got the sheet standing up on end. This top is actually going to be the bottom of your tomato cage. You'll see in a second, it'll all make sense. These are essentially going to become feet here. These feet will poke into the ground, helping to stabilize the cage. So all we have to do is we have to just trim this little end off here. Now when you trim this, it's going to create a sharp piece of metal. That's why gloves are super important, and also probably would not be a bad idea to have protective eyewear. Do as I say, not as I do, because when these trim off, they are really sharp and they'll mess you up. And especially if they're rusty. Make sure your tetanus shot is up to date. But no, if you're careful, I have made in my lifetime 40 or 50 of these with my grandpa, and they're easy. So that's off. So now here's the thing, this becomes your bottom. So what we're going to do, now remember I cut mine in half, so I have 2 of them. We're going to flip it upside down. So now that we clipped off the top, again, this becomes your bottom, and these are feet that once the tomato cage is complete, it will allow you to stick it in the ground. Again, you'll see this all come together in a second. So now we've got a flat side here, and when we cut our sheet in half, we ended up with about 5-6 inches of loose wire here. That is going to become our hook that's going to hook on to this side. Again, so simple. All you have to do, get yourself a good pair of pliers, fold it in just like this. Again, if this tomato cage takes you longer than 2 or 3 minutes, you're probably doing something wrong. These took me and my grandpa about 2 minutes on average to make. Take it just like that, and you're gonna bend all these in. It helps if you kind of use your thumb as a support there to kind of help guide that wire in. There we go. Let's do this here. There you go. There's that. I kind of goofed that one up a little bit, but that's fine. It's not gonna be entered in a beauty contest. So if you grab the end of the wire first and then curl it the rest of the way, you get a little more leverage. So, rather than grabbing it here, grab it at the very end if possible, and that really helps you to bend it. I mean, and zero theater magic here. This is real time. Like, this is not a difficult thing to do. It does require some strength. I mean, if you don't have some upper body arm strength, it's gonna be a little difficult to bend these, but you can also get a wire bender. They make wire benders. So now, check this out. Look at this. I love this. It's not finished yet because you want to make it safe. You do want to close these, but we're just going to push these together so that the hooks catch on the other side, just like so, just like that. Actually, sometimes helps if you kind of put this down like that. There we go. There's that one, and that one, that one, and then if they're all kind of bent at different lengths, it does tend to be a little bit unwieldy. As you're seeing here, they kind of want to pop out a little bit, but that's fine. You're not done yet. Like I said, you just got to get the idea. That, and that. And then you take your, now you don't, I mean, there's lots of people, I'll be honest, there are lots of people that say, it's done. Put it in the ground, call it a day. I like to make sure it doesn't spring open on me. So I just come through here and I just pinch these shut, just like that. Pinch them shut, so simple, takes no time at all. We're talking like 20, 30 seconds to just fold these shut so that they don't pop out on you. Because again, like this one here, this one got goobered up on me. I I should have folded it a little bit further, and I didn't. So this one's kind of popping out on me a little bit. It's fine, because once I fold it, it's done. There we go. Done, done, done. Yeah, simple. This is great, you guys. I love this. I love simple projects. Okay, so now you got this like this. Kind of got a weird teardrop shape. It's okay. Take it, push her down. It's not gonna pop out on it, or at least it shouldn't if you fold those things over right. Push the center, that little point down, till you get yourself a nice, beautiful circle. There you go. I'm gonna fold that down just a little bit more. It wants to kind of come out on me, but there we go. Just like that. That top one wanted to kind of pop out on me there. There we go. There we go. Tomato cage, ready to go in the ground. Check this out. Look at this. See? Take it. My extra gene might have gone a little too hard there, but that's fine. Look at that. Tomato cage. And I wasn't timing myself, but I truly think if I was, 5 minutes, maybe not even. I mean, that was with filming. So easy, so simple, so inexpensive. Just push those ends down and like, oh my gosh. If you want to take it one step further, take a piece of either a furring strip or a piece of T-post, pound it in the ground, and then just take zip ties and zip tie it to it. But I'm telling you, once the tomatoes start growing in here, you're fine. And now let's talk about cost. Let's talk about cost, because I think that's where the real meat and potatoes kind of comes in. I got this 10 foot by 5 foot by 10 foot sheet of concrete remesh for $11.20. I get 2 tomato cages for that $11.20. So that takes us to $5.60-ish, right? $5.60. You are not going to go to a big box store and buy a cheap, junky, terrible tomato cage where the welds are going to break. It's going to be folding, bending, too small, cheap, chintzy garbage for $5.20. You can't even get one of those for $5.20. With a little bit of willpower, you know, enough trailer space, they're pretty big. But if they can cut them down for you, it makes it even better. Or a nice truck bed. You can get these, and we are talking, they will last forever. Forever. They'll last. They might rust a little bit, that surface rust, that's fine. You can get galvanized if you want. Don't spend the extra money. I don't know why you would. They're gonna rust a little bit. That's totally fine. These are going to last. They are absolutely the heaviest duty tomato cages you can get for that amount of money. So there you guys go. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you all learned something new. If this was a game changer for all of you, let me know in the comments box down below. I'd love to know. And I know that I'm not the inventor of this. I've seen it all over the place, but I love to show different gardening styles. Gardening is not a one-size-fits-all solution. And so I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you all learned something new. If you did, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, this is Luke from the My Gardener channel, reminding you to grow bigger. Take care. Bye.